But yeah, I will actually do it now. Maybe. I've got these. And they can soften the blow. Just like Oreos, I can just line myself with Oreos. And then any, like, impact will be marginally lessened by just the crunching Oreos, and then I'm good to go. Labriparto! Oh, probably someone loud and obnoxious. My chair's rather low. But I'm drinking lemonade. Everything in my fridge smells like cucumber, including the bottle that this came in. Sip! I don't even remember there being questions about my blue hair, but I just assumed they were there and I didn't really register them because I found them boring. But since you asked and haven't at all defined what it is you'd like to know, I'll just assume you want to know why I don't have blue hair anymore. Well, I had blue hair from the age of 18 to 22. I had blue hair for 4 years. I got quite sick of it. I got sick of the process of doing it and the process of repeating doing it because it washes out. And one summer I had kind of purpley hair, and then I went out in the sun a lot and it bleached it, and I liked it. So now I have this hair instead. I have to do what I had to do anyway, which is bleach my hair in order to make it blonde, and then to make it blue. That's what I had to do before. Now I just don't have to make it blue, and it's much easier. And another question in my box is about if I'll ever go back to Mousy Brown. I don't really want to do that. I think it makes me look like a mouse even more, and in an unsatisfying, unpleasant manner. So blonde for now. I mostly listen to gaming podcasts. I don't really do much else, although I am intrigued by Guardian Science Weekly and may check that out. So the podcasts I listen to, my favourite podcast ever is called Idle Thumbs. They have a great back catalogue of gaming podcasts that you can read, but unfortunately they stopped making podcasts because they all got successful or whatever, and now they can't do it. Other than that, what I was listening to the other day was the PC Gamer UK podcast. The American one is annoying, but the English one is sort of like listening to a bunch of TF2 nerds talking about a different game, and I quite enjoy that. Gamers with Jobs is another good one. I used to listen to a 1UP podcast, the only good one, but I can't remember what it's called, and it stopped existing about a year, 2 years ago or something. But yeah, I'd be very interested to hear any other podcast recommendations, even though I don't really have the time to listen to them. I sort of like to listen to podcasts when I'm drifting off to sleep, so I tend to miss most of what happens in them. But, yeah. Maybe in the summer I can do other podcast avenues, I can do them. Okay, you're very right in this. I do set high standards for others. From the get-go, before I even really know who they are, which is possibly not helpful for them and our further relationship if they fail to meet those standards. But alas. And the same it goes for me. I am horrible at beating myself up about everything. Mostly related to not doing work and feeling like shit about it, but still not doing work, and then not getting the grades I feel like I should be getting, and blah-de-blah-de-blah. And if I'm a dick, I notice I'm being a dick, and I don't like that. Well, it depends the way in which I'm being a dick. If I'm being a dick to unnecessarily and to a person who does not deserve it, then I feel a recoil at that of my own self, and I notice it happening. So I try very hard to be someone I'd like. I try hard to be someone I'd like, and most of the time I think I do alright, but some of the time I notice I don't. So all efforts go toward attempting to be wholly somebody I like all of the time. My brother had a gammy rib and had to have an operation on it in order to live past the age of 35. But his gammy rib was slightly different from mine in that his sternum went in like this. It's called pectus excavatum. I don't have that problem so much as just a bunch of ribs down here that like to sort of encroach on my organs for no discernible reason. If you have this same thing, you should go get that checked out and then see what they say and let me know. It might well be that I continue to ignore the fact and just assume it's NP, and that, you know, when I feel it grinding on shit, just ignore that. Yeah, do it. Thanks. I feel like the only time people like rain is if, well, should be, if they have things to do so that they don't feel like there's something better outside, because there's really, really not. There's just a lot of rain and it's cold on you and horrible and unpleasant. So when I have nothing to do, I would much prefer there to be some fucking sun going down. There are people who have, like, an unjustified sort of value in rain. They find value there because they don't ever have rain themselves. That's generally the only reason people like rain, because they don't get it very much. Or they're just masochists, I don't know. I mean, it's similar with me, because I feel the opposite way. I really fucking love the sun. I love it when it's super hot, because it hardly ever is. But I just feel like that's a much better way to live for everybody. Can't we just get rid of this fucking water from the sky? It's impinging on my lifestyle. Basically, no, and I like it like that. Not that I don't have a future. I'm sure I have a future. I just don't have the first idea what's going on in that future, and I prefer not to. I don't want to be the person who's envisioning themselves in the future doing this thing that they want to do, because I think that's the path to ruin. Just do what you feel like doing at the time. Don't think of it as such a linear progression, although it is. You just can't see what may come at you from any conceivable angle at any given moment in time. So just wait and see what happens. So I've only played a bit of Magicka. I played the demo. But I just want to say right now, nobody should buy me a game. And definitely nobody should buy me a game with the sort of preconception that I have to play them at that game if they buy it for me. I have a lot of games I want to play, and I don't want to feel any sort of responsibility in that realm, because that realm is quite aside from any responsibility. It should be entirely what I want to do at any given moment. So please don't buy it for me. It's a nice thought and everything, but I'll buy it when it's on sale. Last night I spent considerable amount of time, when I should have been asleep, reading a forum for heroin addicts. And I found out about something called acquirers, which are the middle ground between dealers and, like, recreational users. And they make a lot of money because said recreational users don't know dealers. But, you know, that means I have to know a dealer, and that's not I'm sure I can find out. Okay, so you get these sort of noobs who like to do some sort of drugs sometimes, kind of hard drugs, expensive drugs, and you charge them a shitload for said drugs, but you're just dealing with kind of regular people who aren't, like, insane addicts, and you make a lot of money. I think that's probably the best situation to find yourself in, and the least amount of danger, so I guess I'd go to that one. Be an acquirer. I can really sleep in any situation, even if I'm not particularly tired. Okay, so if I'm not particularly tired, this is the only way in which I can relate to you, because I very rarely have any trouble at all sleeping. It's my only skill. Read a book. I'm reading a book. Until you're really, I don't know, maybe you can read a book for like 3 hours at night. I can't. I last an hour max. Otherwise, put on some sort of lecture series and have it just quiet, like quite quiet, so that you have to really focus to listen to it, and then you will maybe drift off. Those are my 2 tips, but I don't have very many because I'm so fucking great at being asleep. Let's pretend you didn't say reshooting and just say the first time it was made who I would like to be. I'd take
Kate Blanchett's role in The Aviator as Katharine Hepburn, because it seemed like a really fun role to play. I don't know if I'll be able to do it anywhere near as good, but give it a go. Give it a bash. I like Dara Ó Briain in the same way I like Drew Carey presenting Whose Line Is It Anyway? I think I have a genuine fondness towards him when he's sort of presenting things, but I don't find him very funny. Whereas Frankie Boyle can be funny, but as I talked about, his Tramadol Nights is abysmal. So I guess I'll choose Frankie Boyle. I don't know. I guess I'll choose Frankie Boyle. Cardigan or hoodie? I really like cardigans, but hoodies provide me with a source of comfort that I just can't get anywhere else. Cardigans are cool because you can put one on and kind of look not like a mess, and that's something that's useful to me. Pasta or rice? Rice. I hardly ever eat pasta unless you count noodles as pasta, like Japanese noodles-y-ness. So rice, because I don't think that does count as pasta, really. Bastard or McFly, really? Jesus Christ. They're both as loathsome as each other. I'll say busted, because I think they were first, and that sort of means something, maybe. I really liked Power Rangers a lot, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles it had a better mythos to it, and I really liked, I don't know, I liked the whole living in the sewers, and I did like it, so I think I'll choose Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mario, Sonic, Running Up Time, shit! I was a Sonic kid. Since then I obviously play Mario much more. Sonic 2 was great and I loved it, but I think maybe on the whole Mario has more to show. Red or blue? Blue! Jesus Christ, get off my back, will you? Yes, it's done. Although I did notice, as I was handing it in, 15 minutes before the deadline, that I'd forgotten entirely to do a conclusion and had to write it all up very quickly as people sort of attempted to distract me in the most dickish manner possible. I'll read some of it to you just to prove that it's done. Okay. Oh, I really don't want to do that, but here it is. Here's the front page, and there's 4 pages. Fucking Hall effect. Check it out. It said I was balanced equally between estrogen and testosterone in the womb. But it's entirely based on the length of these 2 fingers. That whole page, nothing else you enter has any bearing on it. It's just talking about these. How much longer am I going to do that for? I don't know. Yep, it's quite an achievement. I feel like Wolfram Alpha as a website is going to be a big deal in the future. It started out not so hot, didn't quite do what everyone hoped it would do, but it's definitely heading more in that direction and is very intriguing to me. Plus, Mr. Wolfram is massively dickish in how much smartness he is hogging over there in his brain. What a dick. Second time I've been asked this on the internet. Pretty insane. But I'm gonna answer because you're a chick and we don't get many of those in these parts. So I used this stuff, which is like really cheap. I think it's about £3, and it has a thing that means it's very easy to draw a straight line because it's like that. Good luck to you, Bella. That whole thing is a pretty rad idea, but I'm rather peeved that it's only open to teachers, people who are currently teachers. That's pretty shit. I would definitely do it otherwise. I heard about Charlie Sheen's live Ustream show about an hour before it happened, and I put it up on my second monitor. I was anticipating it happily. I was excited to see what he would do after his humorous interviews and such like. Unfortunately, I was gravely disappointed in the complete lack of funny and just really odd setup. Him sort of bouncing unfunniness off of his lackeys who were laughing heartily at nothing and reflecting attempted memes off each other with a sort of disarming desperation, and I felt like I saw what Charlie Sheen really was that night, and it was just a huge disappointment, and I haven't seen a second one, but it was so fucking boring. I'm not particularly enthralled. I don't feel like I particularly squandered it. I wasn't sure how you were supposed to make the most of something like that. It was all fairly happenstance and a bit strange and a bit funny. I answered questions still, but yeah, I have unfortunately other more impending issues to contend with. Much as I'd like to devote 100% of my time to aspects of internet, I can only spend 20% of time, and of 20%, probably more than that. Anyway, basically the percentages didn't add up for me to be able to just sit here answering questions all the long day. Alas. I'm not going to talk about most embarrassing moments because I don't feel you've done anything to earn that. But as far as other girls go, the best story I could ever hope to tell on VU/the internet at large involves me at the age of 9 years old being asked, well, forced to run around the playground while another girl gave me a purple nurple. I don't know why. I don't know why it happened. I have no recollection of the why. I just remember it happening. And that's the best I have to offer, I think. I think it's quite good. Medium rare and juicy with blood. Stevie Carter is my Steam name. And when I was trying to think of a Steam name 6 years ago, my little brother was telling me a story about this kid that him and his friends bullied. And this kid turned to them, and his rebuke for everything they had done and everything they had said was, "Science is against you." And his name was Stevie Carter. I don't really have dreams in terms of possible career directions. I think that's what's usually meant or inferred when you talk about your dream. Is it? I don't know. I'm taking it as such, seeing as you've mentioned I found my calling in relation to it. I always do this and like do loads. It's supposed to just be one. Speech marks within speech marks within speech marks. So I don't have dreams, I just have fitful whims that strike me from moment to moment, essentially. Not moment to moment, but stretched over a longer time scale. Moments aren't defined in time. So, from moment to moment. No, moments are generally meaning short distances. Let's stretch it out on the old x-axis, and we have ourselves an accurate portrayal of the current world that I live in. Initially, my sort of thought answer was yes, of course, but then I remember that there's this guy who walks up and down the road sometimes who likes to stop and talk to the sky sometimes, and I think if he fainted, I would just assume it was it's for the best. I once tripped on a Subway sandwich while I was walking down the road. One of the higher comedic moments in my entire life. Nobody stopped to help me. I feel like nobody noticed. It very much seemed like nobody noticed, but they might have just been averting their eyes, as is probably recommended in that situation. So if they seemed like they needed my help and weren't raving lunatics, then yes. Yep. Piece of shit. Piece of shit game. Fucking depressed me. I sat here, I played it, I was like this. My speakers don't like it either. My speakers do that when they're unhappy. You can hear them doing it. It was horrible and not a good experience and horrifically depressing and everything bad in the world. I saw this video yesterday. All of the footage coming out at the moment from Battlefield 3 is very nice and good and exciting. What's very central to this is the fact it's all gameplay footage and it looks really fun. I'm not so psyched, well, I'm not really at all psyched on the single player mode, but multiplayer is going to be
It's gonna be good, I think. I have a good feeling. Well, basing on how it looks good. And reading, I read a interview with a guy from DICE who was very reassuring indeed, referred to the core audience in not just that manner and in something that felt like more than just a lip service-y way. Well, it was. I'm sure. See, I'm excited. You can tell. So yeah, I'm really excited about Battlefield 3. I think it's going to be super fun. I probably will need to upgrade, although based on what was being used in that video, apparently it's not too hungry and will run nicely on affordable sort of hardware. I will need to upgrade, I don't doubt really, to have a good experience and not just feel like I'm a bit of a cripple child. So I haven't upgraded for a particular game, but when I upgrade, I do save games until I upgrade, so I haven't played Metro 2033, and I think there's a few others I haven't played, but like The Witcher 2, Red Orchestra 2, Battlefield 3, those are the main games that I feel are gonna fucking very much warrant to the point of undeniability and upgrade, and that's gonna be quite soon. So, yeesh. Excited though. Just got out of the shower. I buy all my games for the PC. I buy them almost exclusively through Steam because I really like Steam. I think people downloading games is a bit shitty. It's very detrimental to anybody who wants to continue playing games on the PC. I will encourage developers to develop for PC as much as they possibly can, and that involves buying the games, although I do buy a lot of them in Steam sales. But still, I do torrent or download DS games because that platform has absolutely no problems right now or ever, is absolutely thriving, and plus I would never pay upward £20 upward for a DS game. Is just obscene. I download music too because I find out basically if a band comes to the UK or is in the UK and they are touring, I will go and see them and I'll pay money to see their band, and I find out about bands I wouldn't have any idea about otherwise just because I can download their music and listen to them and decide if I like them, and I think it's a good thing. So I'm not really like it about any other piracy apart from PC game piracy, basically. I didn't know what this was until I just did a Google search, and I don't think I have that, but I can see where you're coming from. I changed it. You're welcome. Shrove Tuesday went by pancakeless. I had nary a pancake and I have nobody but myself to blame. Do you like these close-ups? I'm being artistic. Oh. If I talk in a game, people will assume I'm a small child, a small boy who ought to be in bed, and they will tell me I ought to be in bed. I'm actually at a severe disadvantage until I correct them, which feels douchey. And then they are liable to over-medic me in order to... If you and then just go lie on the road for a while, someone will pick you up. I think, like, even aside from the obvious new iteration that is 10 times better than the one you will buy if you adopt early, even aside from that, I don't think that the 3DS is worth it. I played it at a event organised by Nintendo in a warehouse, and I wasn't taken with it. I liked the bit where I got to shoot at my own head, and my own head was sort of coming at me from all angles and had stupid facial region. That entertained me, but it doesn't have much longevity. There are some games now that I would like to play, but I don't know if I'd play them in 3D, especially as most of them are at 30 FPS, and it's a bit... like, 3D is a slight eye rape as it is, and then bring in 30 FPS and it just becomes unpleasant. So I would say Ixnay on the Nintendo S
day, nay. Do the 40 minutes span the gamut of rape? I was quite surprised by the amount of rape in that film, and I watched it with my parents, which meant I wasn't even allowed to jerk off. I don't like it when they do that, so, you know, you have to sometimes respect other people and their whims, however selfish they may be. I really liked the first, I don't know, some percentage of the film, and then it just went a little bit, but as specified, I only watched it once and my parents can jerk off, and probably would need to watch it again in order to ascertain the good/badness. In general, director's cuts are better. Ply her constantly with the date rape drug, and not only will she be yours for the taking, but she won't hassle you about anything ever again. I don't think anyone should be asking advice from me about hair. Look, what is this? I can do this, and it does that. Okay. My hair is hay. Look. It looks like hay and it feels like hay most of the time. Some of the time. And plus, long. This isn't really long, and this is the longest I've had it since I was 13. So I can tell you my methods, but they have little validity. And shaking hands. They have no shaking hands. That was just an unnecessary addition I threw in for free. Plus, my hair was just tied up and it just bust on out. Well, I do use very cheap plastic things to tie my hair up, and they do break often. So let's not jump to too many conclusions. I wash my hair about every 3 days. This is 4 days, no washing, and it needs a wash. What's your hair setup? I think that counts, but even if you told me, that wouldn't enlighten me to enlighten you, so I'm really no expert on this topic. I've never been on a dating site, but I think if I was a guy and I wasn't immediately striking, I would do that and hope for the best. I'm really glad I'm not a guy or a full-on lesbo, because Jesus Christ, is it slim pickings. Look around the internet and there are some good pickings. But, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I feel sorry for you, and I'm really glad I'm not you. And good luck in every one of your endeavours. I'm reading Infinite Jest currently. It's a long haul with me in books, because I don't, you know, I'm so busy. Look at me being so fucking busy right now. Jesus. So, you know, I'm yay far through the book. I don't know, some length of yay. And I really like it. I think it's awesome. Mostly just the way it's written, I dig. Well, not mostly that, but substantially that. It's very, very appealing to me and makes me want to carry on writing my thing that I'm writing, kind of. Well, obviously my views are very important to me, and as such I'll have a new video up within the next 7 days. Just wait and see, it'll be there. I don't really like this question, it borders on the gross. How often do I play with subscribers/viewers? If people want to add me on Steam and follow me into a game sometime, that's perfectly fine and good, and it's happened before and it's fun. Because it's a fucking game and that's what it's supposed to be, and they are most of the time. So if you want to do that, then by all means, do it. A lot of people seem to add me on Steam just to sort of watch me exist, which I understand entirely. Who wouldn't want to do that? You spelled that wrong and I hate you. Why? I'm no less than 7,840 feathers. I worked that out. It is based entirely around my timetable. My university timetable. Mostly. So I will go to bed the latest I possibly can go to bed in order to ascertain my required roughly